Hey guys, I'm John Harris and this is Digital World Conquest, your #1 source for video games, music, movies, and electronics. So let's get started. Alright, today guys, I want to make a quick video just because my favorite time of year, one of my favorite times of the year is occurring right now. Now, I don't know what 2K thinks happens every year, but when they drop this Prelude that gives you the taste of MyCareer for the next 2K18 or 2K19 or NBA 2K game, a real nigga gets a hold of the game, and I'm here to let you guys know if the rest of the MyCareer mode may be even worth it this year. Because let's be honest, as of late with the what was the name of Spike Lee's joint? What was the dude's name last year? DJ. As of late, they just haven't been cutting it for me. So as soon as it came out, I got it right in my hands just to let you guys know what's up. And we're gonna talk about it here on Digital World Conquest. Alright, so first off, obviously every year they do a graphics update. That's one of the few things you can actually rely on sports games, you know, in this generation actually committing to throughout their year of development. The mechanics, I would say, are pretty much par or maybe slightly above last year, but as it stands, I've still seen a couple of glitches with the Prelude that you kind of see every year now. I mean, let's be honest, 2K, as far as the way the game is driven, has been the same, and it usually stays the same, and that perspective or that initiative is usually console driven. We usually get a revamp when we get a new piece of hardware. So as far as the mechanics, par, still the same, still just as good if you want to look at it optimistically. The graphics have gotten a little bit more detailed. Let's dive into this story because that's one of the few things that got that major drastic change this year. So every year they try to come up with a different story as to how this NBA draft is experienced by the player. And this year we have our draft candidate leaving college obviously a year early and, you know, not being picked up in the draft, eventually being transferred over to the Chinese league and playing for the Shanghai Bears, which actually has a pretty decent squad. And that right there is refreshing. That drew me in instantly. The announcers, the players, the fans, everybody is Chinese league. I think that's dope. Like, I'm sitting here playing this game and I know that, and subsequently you also have a nickname that, you know, you have to have, because if you're having the announcers announce the entire game in Chinese, then you're going to need at least one American name that you, or one English name, I'm sorry, that you can identify your player as, regardless of what he looks like. So your AI this year, which is, I'm sure, is pretty dope to a couple people. It was actually pretty enjoyable for me. I didn't have to feel like I was being called AI personally, because I personally can't ball. So why would we even be wasting our time doing that? As far as the main character's role in this new story, it left a foul taste in my mouth, but I will say that it's because I feel like it's one of those stories where you really hate your own main character when you start, and as you progress, your character progresses in heart. Like towards the end of this short prelude, we get, you know, you're facing the NBA All-Stars team, and this guy that was in your same draft class, in your same school, is like, you know, you should learn to appreciate what you're doing. This is a blessing. And I could kind of tell that it was going up in education and positivity. But throughout the first couple of games, I really hated it. And I think they you know, and now that I think about it, I think they knew what I was up to all along, and they made me not so much enjoy the Prelude, so I can hope and wait to see what the whole MyCareer mode is going to be like. And you know what? They got me. They reeled me in with it, because I still enjoyed going through the story. You got Anthony Mackie being this mysterious fan. You got you got your game against the All-Stars. You even have this little side game where you play on the 2K1 on an original arcade mode type of. So they did a lot of fresh things with this Prelude, and I love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. The My Point system is the last thing that I want to touch on. I feel like this was one of the biggest remedies that 2K needed for their MyCareer, because honestly, I don't play 2K for anything other than MyCareer mode. I will buy an entire 2K game and play $30 of the game just because I only care about the story. And for that reason, I didn't really like what was Spike Lee's Living the Dream. Fuck. But this year, with the My Point system, how they've broken your performance down is that every significant play gets you a little bit closer to where you need to be at, and it gets you a little bit closer to your badges. It gets you a little bit closer to your attribute level boosts, and it gets you closer to the next level just by showing you what you're most productive in. You know what I'm saying? It breaks down every badge. Okay, you've had 2 well-defended plays, 5 rebounds, you had 3 picks. You know what I'm saying? So it'll take those, transfer those into scores, and give you a illustration of how much of these badges that you're filling up with your own progress. And it's not something that takes away points just because you've had a couple of questionable plays like the teammate grade does. So even though you may have a teammate grade of a C, everything that you did goes on to your My Points. So if you played your ass off and right at the end you had some unfortunate plays and you ended up with a C, you can still end up with 20, I'm sorry, not 20, you can still end up with 2,000, 2,500 My Points. And that right there, I thought that was an ingenious way to bring in a new system to keep people like me interested, because let's be honest, no, I've never been trained in the art and the love of basketball, so I just like going out there and making plays happen. And I enjoy watching the games just because I feel like it's more of a challenge if you don't know the fundamentals. I'm learning just like I'm playing, so it's fun for me to see where I'm improving outside of, just where I'm getting done for the teammates. And that, with this interesting tumultuous story that you have with the main character, I think is an equation that's going to bring about a lot of new people to the MyCareer mode. And even this Prelude, I've already played it like 3 or 4 times. That don't matter, but for everybody else that's looking into this year's 2K game, it's definitely a must buy just based off the strength of what I'm saying, and I think that goes pretty far. If you take nothing else away from this, I would say definitely go download the Prelude, play for it yourself, learn a little bit of Chinese, appreciate where you're at, and stay tuned to the next episode of Digital World Conquest. Seeing how much time I got left.